Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome to VA Friyay. Hopefully, you had a really good week. And I'm going to be talking about a super cool case study I did about 2 months ago uh, in regards to a client buying a fourplex and how that went for them. But before I get right into it, we got to start with our own dad joke, right? So, what do you smell in a Tesla when you buy it the first time? Because it's not a new car smell, it's a Elon Musky smell. All right, so getting right into it. When it comes to buying a fourplex on a VA loan, it's really cool. And what's really cool about it is the fact that it is still a zero down payment, right? Any other home loan program generally requires some kind of down payment. Now, when you're an investor looking to buy a house as an investment property, such as a fourplex or any kind of multifamily, the one thing you're looking at is cash on cash return, right? So you're looking at the amount of cash you put in versus how much cash you get out and annualizing it, how much you're getting back the money you put into the house. So if you spend $5,000 to buy this this asset and it yields you $1,000 a year, that's about a 20% return annualized, right? So 25%, 20% return. Now, what's cool about the VA loan is that regardless of what type of property, as long as you have enough left in your VA, you can go zero down on any house, regardless of what type of property it is. So if it's a multifamily, you buy, and if you're looking at it from the investor perspective, number one main thing that you're saving on is the down payment. Typically, down payment on any multifamily house that's not a VA loan is about 20%, right? It's quite a big portion. And then you have to add a closing cost on top of that. So for this client, he bought a fourplex for about $750. And he had zero down. The other cool thing about the other deal is the part of the deal was that he got about $32,000 of closing cost paid for by the seller. So the amount of money he would have spent for closing cost was probably close to around $16,000, right? Probably closer to like 14. So $14,000 in closing, $14 to $16,000 in closing costs for a $780,000 house. Now, he didn't have to spend the money. The seller paid that for him. So he's going zero down, zero closing costs, and he's actually he had the ability to use the extra money to buy his rate down further. So it made his payment a lot better. So he's in on this deal, zero money, right? So if you think about it, he's in on this deal zero money because he doesn't pay for closing costs. He may have to pay for the inspection, but honestly, that probably got wiped out on the first day of saving, honestly. So he bought his rate down all the way as much as he could with the amount left, and he paid for his closing costs and no down payment. He closed on December 1st. Now, what's cool about mortgages is that you can go almost 1 to 2 months before you make your first mortgage payment. So if he closes around December 1st, the first to the end of that month and the end of next month, he pays his first mortgage payment in February, closing at the beginning of December. So he goes 2 months without a mortgage payment when he buys his house, when he buys his fourplex. The other cool thing is that all the other units are being rented out and still paying rent through those months. So if you kind of think about it on the perspective of the cash on cash return, is that the first month is absolutely profitable, right? He gets a security deposit, he gets that month rent, right? So whatever he spent toward home inspections, whatever, that's immediately coming back to him already done, like paid for. January is another profitable month. And then he pays his first mortgage payment in February. So for 2 months, he's profiting, right? So he's basically getting paid to buy a fourplex for those 2 months. And then, of course, he has a mortgage payment, and then that gets taken out. But still, if you look at it from a long-term perspective, all he had to pay for out of pocket is probably the true cost of buying a house is interest, right? Sure, you have your mortgage payment. Part of your mortgage payment goes to principal, which I don't count as cost. I count as a forced savings account. The interest is what actually is the charge to have that loan, right? So he really has to pay the interest is the true cost for him, which would be the case because he would have because when it comes to the VA loan, you have to live in one of the units. So if you think about it, he's winning pretty good in that case. And the thing is, rent goes up every year, about $50 to $100, maybe with inflation, whatever it is. But either way, over the next 3 to 4 years, the amount of rent amount of the remaining mortgage he has to pay for will slowly dwindle. And there's going to be a potential opportunity to refinance within the next 18 months. So his mortgage payment will also go down, which will also help his profitability. So overall, this guy won. And this is very similar to how I bought my duplex. It's very similar. I didn't pay anything for closing costs. I paid like $500 out of pocket, maybe for the inspection. And it's exactly the same situation I went through when I bought my duplex. So this is what's cool about buying multifamily. Now, the tough thing with multifamily is when it comes to qualifying is there's two things. In addition to buying a normal house, you must have 6 months in mortgage payments and reserves. But luckily he had that. So he was already fine with that. And the second thing is that for his situation, what was nice is that he didn't need the rent to qualify. He could actually qualify for the entire mortgage by himself. But in case he did, we would have to use the rents. We can use the rents to help him qualify and make his file stronger if it's past what he can afford for the mortgage payment without rent. So we can help use the rent. But if we do use the rent, we also have to consider, does that client have property management experience? And if they do, we can use that. However, if they don't, then we have to get property management involved before they close. So those are kind of the extra requirements when it comes to using the VA loan on multifamily like that. But it's a really cool story to be able to share with you guys, because that client, I'm still really good friends with the client, which is really cool. He calls me every so often. But super great deal, super amazing deal for the client. It worked out really well, pretty smooth file overall. But that's kind of what's cool about being able to use your VA loan on multifamily. Otherwise, hopefully you guys have a great weekend. That's all I got for you guys today. I'll talk to you guys on Monday.